The differences between Viserys Targaryen book and show version. Let's talk about that, alright? Let's get a little deep down under on the character of Viserys Targaryen. Yes, I am talking about him once more. This time around, though, I want to get into the differences between him in the show and him in the books, alright? They're kind of stark differences. The overall general plot line's the same, but it's all about the little itty bitty details, you know what I'm saying? Let's start off with the books. King Viserys Targaryen was elected to be king under a very similar situation. Old King Jaehaerys Targaryen had a succession crisis, and they went to put a vote to who shall succeed the throne. In the books, it wasn't Rhaenys. I believe it was Laenor, Rhaenys' son, I believe, or something like that. I think so. I think that's what happened. That was Viserys' big rival in the election. Was Laenor, I believe. Anyways, Viserys in the books grew to be a big man. He grew a big belly, and he loved feasts and food and festivals, and he was a man of good times. All right. Honestly, I'd be in that court of Vizzy if I had the book version for sure. Just hanging out with a big fat man who just wants to eat food and hang out. Sounds like a pretty good time to me. He also had a big bushy mustache, which is just hilarious to think of. Paddy Constantine with a big giant mustache. Same plot line where Vizzy sadly lost his wife and whatnot through childbirth. Very sad stuff. We're not known on Otto's involvement with the marriage between Alicent and Viserys. All we know is that Viserys, his eye was caught by Alicent in court. But the big difference between Alicent and Rhaenyra in the books, however, is the fact that Alicent is older than Rhaenyra and they weren't really best friends. Probably the best decision they've made in the show. They made the whole thing way more tragic by making sure that they were best friends, best pals. They basically grew up in court together in the show. In the books, it's not like that. Alicent is simply Rhaenyra's stepmom in the books. Viserys is the same in the books, where he refuses to give up Rhaenyra's claim on the throne. He stomps his foot down, but we don't really get a whole lot of detail on why. Fire and Blood doesn't really have a whole lot on actual genuine details. We are just known that Vizzy T in the books, he's just a chill guy. All he wants is his food, and he doesn't really care a whole lot. All right, he's a bit of a party guy. It seems like this version of Viserys seems very washed out. You know, there's not a whole lot of detail about him, and I don't think there ever really was supposed to be to begin with. It was just a simple history book. So no hate on George in this moment, alright? No hate on George for writing this character, alright? No hate at all. From my perspective, Viserys in the books is just supposed to be a pretty basic, straightforward character. He simply just wants, he wants to party, he wants to eat, and he loved his daughter, apparently. We don't get a whole lot of details in the books, from my knowledge. Why Viserys stomped his foot down on Rhaenyra, but probably one of the biggest differences between book Viserys and show Viserys is how they died, how they passed away. In the show, it's very poetic how he goes out. The weight of the realm crushing down this poor individual is shown through his disease, making his body just decay over time, showing just how much that crown has crushed his very soul and his body. In the books, his belly bursted. That's about it. He just died. He keeled over. He got too fat. He was simply, in the books, he was simply just an unhealthy man. He ate too much. You know, he was just a big guy. He was just a big guy. He doesn't really do a whole lot to quell the problematic factions at the court. He doesn't really do a whole lot. He just parties a lot and he dies. Now, in the show, we dive deep into Viserys' psyche, his internal problems. He deeply cares about everyone around him. He wants everyone to be satisfied and happy. He has he has a soulmate. He loved his wife Emma all the way up into his very death. In the show, we see that his body slowly deteriorate and his refusal to actually solve any real problems. He is shown to be a very weak king all the way up until he's literally forced to really stomp his foot down. Does he actually ever do anything? And it's a much more tragic of a character, in my opinion, because you see this man who really shouldn't be king. He really he shouldn't have been in this position at all, and yet he's here. He's on the throne. We never see him wear his crown ever, really, unless it's for showy purposes. We never really see him wear his crown, and I think that shows just how he doesn't feel like a king. Really, he's not really much of a king. He is a man who just wanted a happy family and just wanted happy people around him. He just wanted to satisfy people, and he died thinking that he solved his family's problems, and that is just, and that's not even saying just how fantastic the performance was from Paddy Considine. Like, good lord, that, oh my god, it's like what they did to Robert Baratheon, and just times 20. Just like Viserys Targaryen in the show, at least, is probably one of my favorite fantasy characters of all time. I'm placing my foot down on that. I don't care how many Viserys haters are out there. I love my boy Viserys. Sure, he made a lot of mistakes, but he's a great man. All right, in the books, he seems to be just a happy like a uncle, you know, like an uncle you see at like family gatherings. You know, he's just there and he chills out and he hangs out, and then he dies. Viserys' performance in the show was so good, in fact, that George R.R. Martin himself stated that he was tempted to rewrite Fire and Blood because of just how phenomenal that character was in the show. And that says something. If you tempt the author on rewriting parts of his own stuff just because of how good it is, oh, that just says how phenomenal this character was. Long live Viserys the Peaceful. Most of the time when I see adaptations of stuff, I always come into it with a cynical eye, you know. But if you can convince the author himself to go, oh my god, I should probably rewrite some of this, you know you're doing something right. That being said, I am extremely excited for season 3 of House of the Dragon whenever that comes out. Season 2 was definitely highs and lows, but overall it's great. Like, you gotta be grateful for what you have because you know how bad it could be. You know what I'm saying? Season 8, I know how bad it can be, so I'm grateful for what I got. I acknowledge the low points of season 2. Rhaenyra sneaking to the King's Landing was a little weird. It definitely should have had 2 more episodes. I do 100% agree with the fact that season 2 seemed a little off with its pacing. It definitely felt like there should have been, at the very least, 1 more episode. Probably 2 more episodes at the tail end of that. It feels like the season abruptly just ended. That, and Rhaenyra sneaking into King's Landing was a little weird. I won't lie. It was a bit odd. A bit strange, even. But that doesn't make me ignore all the good things about the season. The season was great overall. Sure, it had some issues, but it was pretty damn good in the long run of things. Especially the first half. First half of that season was fantastic. All right, I am very excited for season 3 and what they have in the future. That Dunk and Egg show? Oh, you bet your bunions I'm watching that. I love the Dunk and Egg novellas. They're so cute. But yes, I did absolutely make another Viserys video because I love my boy Viserys. Alright? I love my boy Viserys. Seems to me, book Viserys was a little bit of a silly goose, where show Viserys is a much more of a tragic character overall. But I hope you guys enjoyed this video. And I'll see you all later. Goodbye!